General Motors has taken a $5 billion hit in charges for its struggling China business where its sales are collapsing. And honestly, General Motors has long been the beneficiary, thanks to some pretty savvy investing many years ago, to billions of dollars in profits from China. Now it seems that is about to come to an end. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans, you're watching the Electric Viking. I've been talking now for years about what would happen to General Motors in China. And I've been reporting for years about what's been happening to General Motors in China. So yeah, if you're new to the channel and you love General Motors, probably not the right channel for you. Maybe just unsubscribe, because otherwise you're probably going to get your feelings hurt. Now, it's not intentional. I don't dislike you. In fact, I like General Motors itself. But the truth is that if you sit still and your rivals don't, this is what happens. Now, GM have known for more than 10 years that China's car market was rapidly changing. And it was not just a situation where, there's all these ridiculous YouTubers and US media saying that all the technology was stolen from General Motors and that, all these new car brands have incorporated that new technology into their new cars and that's why they're beating GM. That doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, sorry, but the reason GM's cars aren't selling in China is not because anyone stole their advanced technology. It's because their technology is old in comparison to the new technology that you can now buy for less money than a GM car. That's simply an objective fact. So as a result, General Motors are trying to restructure. They realize their sales are collapsing in China. Their sales have fallen more than 50% over the past couple of years. And as a result, their profits have shrunk enormously. And that's not going to stop. A restructuring of General Motors' struggling business in China, says Automotive News, will reduce the automakers' reported earnings by more than $5 billion in 2024. GM said in a December 4 regulatory filing that it will take non-cash charges of $2.7 billion for the restructuring and $2.6 billion up to $2.9 billion to account for the diminished value of its equity in the 50-50 joint venture with SAIC Motor Corporation. In other words, basically that joint venture now is worth peanuts and they are revaluing it. Now imagine if every legacy automaker actually did this and it revalued the value of its factories and its businesses around the world. This would be hilarious. Overnight, the value of those stocks, those share prices for all those companies would shrink drastically. All right? Anyhow, the charges will affect GM's net income mostly in the fourth quarter of this year and will be reported as one-time special items. Are they really one-time special items? I guarantee you they're not one-time special items. For good reason, and I'm sure you can understand what I'm talking about. GM said in the filing that its board of directors audit committee determined at December 2 that the impairment was necessary based on a determination that a material loss in value of our investments in certain of the China joint ventures is other than temporary in light of the finalization of a new business forecast and certain restructuring actions that SGM is finalizing that are expected to be taken to address market challenges and competitive conditions. And it's quite a long sentence, long paragraph, and that was only part of the paragraph. That was a selection of this very long, complex paragraph. Basically, the business is worth a lot less and soon it'll be worth probably pretty much nothing in China. GM's plan is to import expensive vehicles from America and try and sell them in China. Good luck with that. When I say import expensive vehicles, I'm not even referencing the EVs. I mean, China is moving rapidly to an EV-only market, maybe plug-in hybrid and EV-only market. But I mean, General Motors' idea that they're going to import all these big Chevy vehicles, expensive ones, from America and sell them as luxury cars in China it's nonsensical. It's like so Disney fairy tale ridiculous. I don't know how they even came up with that idea, but that's what they're planning on doing. That said, kudos to GM for doing this revaluation of their business in China, because Jeep did not do that before they declared bankruptcy in China. What about Mitsubishi when they took off Do their investors know that's going to happen? I mean, they probably did if they looked at the business's sales in China, but most investors don't even do that. They just read the headlines in the mass media. Mitsubishi's going wonderfully. Things are grand. Don't listen to the Electric Viking. He's full of shit, that guy. He just makes things up, except when he reads statistics and facts, those are just made up facts. He's cherry picking them. He'll cherry pick the numbers and then we'll go bankrupt in China or leave. But he just cherry picked those numbers, apparently. All right. Well, General Motors has lost money in China for 3 consecutive quarters. That's straight from Automotive News. I'll give you the URL, autonews.com, General Motors, General Motors China restructuring. Automotive News is probably the most respected news publication in the world when it comes to automotive news. You can pay them to get all the data. Subscribe, they have all that stuff. This is really, really high quality website. So what's happened? Sales in the country have fallen 18% in the first 9 months of the year to 1.2 million vehicles. But remember, a couple of years ago, they were selling more than 2 million. In fact, I believe they were at more than that. I think it was about 4 million from memory in about 2018. So as you can see, their sales have shrunk very quickly. SAIC GM, which builds Chevrolet, Buick, and Cadillac vehicles, is one of the 2 joint ventures for the automaker in China. GM reported an equity loss from its China operations of $137 million in the third quarter, compared with a gain from the year earlier of $192 million, which is interesting considering sales that year shrank as well. As we have consistently said, we are focused on capital efficiency and cost discipline and have been working with SGM to turn around the business in China in order to be sustainable and profitable in the market, a GM spokesperson said in a statement. We are close to finalizing our restructuring plan with our partner, and we expect our results in China in 2025 to show year-over-year improvement. In other words, they're not going to make a loss in every single quarter like they have this year and will this year. 3 quarters of straight losses, and I'm pretty sure that the fourth quarter, considering these numbers, will be a loss as well. So 4 quarters of losses, and GM is saying they're going to turn things around. How exactly? No one knows. No one even at General Motors knows. This is just a statement from their PR dudes. They don't know. No one. I'm telling you. Mary Barrett, do you think she knows? If she knew, she'd be telling us, and she hasn't said anything about it. Other than that ridiculous plan I gave you before, that's all we've heard. GM's efforts to turn around its China business are underway, reportedly, as competition has increased, including from domestic brands that sell lower-priced electric vehicles, which are better than GM's EVs, by a fair margin. The automaker this year appointed a new leader for China in Steve Hill, who formerly led global commercial operations. CEO Mary Barrett in October said GM and SAIC, which is a Chinese government-owned company, want to make sure the business is profitable and sustainable. Didn't say how that would happen though. In China, you'll begin to see evidence of a turnaround yet this year with a significant reduction in dealer inventory and modest improvements in sales and shares, she said. Now, that was months ago. That was before GM's $5 billion write-down. So things are going so well that 4 straight quarters of losses, so 12 months of losses, and a $5 billion write-down. And that came after Mary said, you'll see evidence of a turnaround yet this year. There is no evidence, Mary, of any kind of turnaround at GM's China business, only the fact that you're writing down the entire business by $5 billion. Yeah. Thanks for watching.